So every time you see me, I just go like this.
Man, are you itchy? No, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking.
I'm in real deep thought.
Real deep
Real
thought.
deep thought.
Dan, you've
Oh.
been thinking for the last 20 minutes now. Hold on, just 2 more minutes.
After 5 minutes, it's not thinking, it's just playing.
Yeah.
There you go, man. So on that note, welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a podcast by filmmakers who talk movies, television, and sometimes play a little too long. I'm your host, Nightmare Before Damnedness.
I'm not your host, ho-ho-ho-tality.
And I'm the other guy. Does this look like a little weight to you?
So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about the great Christmas movie debate. We're going to have two movies pitted against each other, and we have to decide which one's better. And the loser is no longer going to be considered a Christmas movie. Not on the NASS show. So First, we're going to hit you with the current event.
Since we're going to be doing have a movies fighting each other, the current one actually has to deal with a movie that deals with fighting. And it was that recently, Machio and Jackie Chan came out with a video together announcing that both worlds of the original Karate Kid and what was considered the reboot will be merging together, and they will both be in the movie, and they're currently trying to cast their Karate Kid. Thoughts?
I saw this recently, actually. Minnie had hit me up about it at first as a rumor, and I was like, I don't know, I haven't heard anything. And honestly, the next day, I saw that video on Facebook of the two of them announcing that they were looking for somebody. And I have mixed feelings. I grew up loving their Karate Kid. You know, it's not a great movie, but it's nostalgic. You know, it's something fun. I love Cobra Kai. The remake Karate Kid wasn't bad. It's not the Karate Kid. It's the Kung Fu Kid. You know, it's the big difference. But I love Jackie Chan. It's like, I've never watched a Jackie Chan movie and thought to myself, like, well, that was a waste of my time, or that sucked. It's like, could have been better. Yeah, but it's Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's always great. like he never half-asses it. So it's like, why not? I want it. I want it. Give it to me. I'll take it.
Convince myself.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like it's going to be really how is this going to work? Are they going to do like a multiverse of things? Like, how are they going to get the two together? It's supposed to be Mr. Miyagi, but then it's obviously not Mr. Miyagi. So is it like his nephew? Are they going to say, oh, it's Mr. Miyagi, but like it's his family relative, his younger brother? Like, how are they going to do this? Like,
well, basically what happened is thanks to Loki, multiple time streams got joined together.
I already knew Jose had something because he gets that smirk on his face. Like, here he go. Here comes the BS meter.
No, it'll be interesting. Like George pointed out, what type of martial arts are they going to use for this? Is the kid going to do both karate and kung fu, or
I can see how they can merge both worlds. Like, if people have been keeping up with Cobra Kai, and if they have it just spin off of how the show was going, there's the big tournament that they're trying to be a part of, and that was a world tournament. So all martial arts are accepted, because even in the show, like, they're showing like, Taekwondo is being used, stuff like that. So Kung Fu is going to be used too, obviously. He doesn't play Mr. Miyagi in the movie because Miyagi is a Japanese name and he plays a Chinese man. So he'll be someone else. I can easily see it being where like someone that's a part of Miyagi-Do maybe is like a superstar student that surpasses the kids we've already seen, and they end up going to the competition and they face off against
Miguel.
You know, Jackie Chan's,
just make
student.
him Miguel, dude. Just make him Miguel, man.
I think it should be one of them. Why are we looking for somebody? We got the kids already.
We got Blue Beetle.
A rumor that was out there, and this of course can always change, or it can just be an inaccurate leak, but rumor of the storyline is that they're gonna change up the dynamic where the kid actually is already trained. He's already a trained fighter, and he's coming into some part of the United States, and he's gonna come across a man who things are not, I don't know if he's getting beat up, he's getting bullied, something's happening to his back, and he's gonna have to train the adults on how to fight. So they're the supposedly the plans to change the dynamic. So their kid that they're looking for, and it even said it in the casting, ideally knows martial arts already, some form of martial arts, because I think from the start this kid is already going to be trained.
That just makes more questions because then what do the other two older characters
what do we need them for?
What do we need them for?
They're the ones bullying the man.
Now it makes sense. Now you got
There it
me.
is.
Now I'm in. There's my
Yep.
butt in the seat.
I'm back.
Jose, you got me. I'm back, baby. I'm back.
All right, well, let's get into, all this talk about fight is letting me hyped. Let's get into some matchups here. So we're taking some of the beloved Christmas movies and we're gonna pit them against each other and force ourselves to have to choose one over the other. So with that being said, you guys want to get right into it?
Let's
Let's
do it.
do it.
All right, first one. On one side, we have the beloved Christmas Vacation. On the other side, Home Alone, another beloved Christmas movie. You got a choice. Who do you choose to win, and why do you pick that movie? Let's start with you, George.
Here, this. Boom.
There it is. Right in his nose.
Right there.
You poke your eye out with that finger.
Damn right I will. It's just even a conversation at this point. I mean, really? Who watches Christmas Vacation? I if I don't know if the other episodes come out yet or whatnot, but we've had an episode where we kind of talk about this. I don't think Chevy Chase is funny. All right. I don't like Chevy Chase. He got nothing going on for me. But Kevin McAllister and Home Alone, that is pure gold. I can never get sick of that movie. I watch that every year repeatedly. It is the superior film. Joe Pesci's in it, man. I mean, what else do I got to say?
This one was hard for me because I do watch Christmas Vacation a lot. And Home Alone, I've seen so many times as a kid, and I do rewatch it again. It just doesn't hold as much weight to me now as I'm an adult. Christmas Vacation has a lot more like adult humor in it. So, you know what? Just to be contrarian, I'm going to go Christmas Vacation on this one, okay? To me as an adult, it kind of speaks a little more volume, being like the head of the household. You have to create the Christmas decorations and the Christmas memories. Even having all the in-laws and all the parents coming over and everything going disaster. There's a lot of comedy in that, man. I think Chevy Chase, I'll fight back on it. I think Chevy Chase is one of the kings of sarcasm. Like that type of comedy, so much that he was a complete a-hole on set and like pissed off everybody that he worked with on Saturday Night Live. But there's no denying that he's so good in that movie. He's so good in the movie Fletch. But Christmas Vacation, man, I loved it. I thought it was good.
I felt, remember when I put this together, I felt Dan was going to struggle the most with this one.
Yeah, I did.
Because he does enjoy both movies.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Home Alone. I've seen Christmas Vacation maybe twice. I saw it as a kid. I did enjoy it. I saw it as an adult and didn't think it was bad, but it's just doesn't hold the same weight with me as Home Alone does. Uh, I can rewatch Home Alone as many times as possible and I'm still gonna enjoy it. There's more classic scenes in Home Alone for me than there is in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And then I just, watching Home Alone, I like to theorize of what a little sociopath, McAllister was, and that he planned the entire thing and he could have gotten help at any time, but he didn't want to. He wanted to hurt them. Anyway, I'm getting beyond the point there. But yes, I'm gonna have to go with Home Alone. I think I watch that every year. While Christmas Vacation, I've seen twice total in my lifetime.
That makes sense. One thing though, he doesn't eat the damn mac and cheese bowl. That thing looked immaculate the way he made that mac and cheese, and he never even tasted it. Still makes me mad.
Sometimes food is too pretty to eat. Let's get into the next one. This is gonna be a real tough one. I know it was tough for me. All right, and we're gonna start with you on this one, Dan.
Okay.
On one side, we have Yippee Ki Die Hard. On the other side, we have I'm Too Old for This, Lethal Weapon. Action Christmas movies. Dan, start us off.
Okay. No, I'm going to go with Die Hard, man. Now he's got a machine gun. Like, come on. Die Hard, one of the greatest action movies of all time. And the fact that we already debated this and it's technically cha-ching, a Christmas movie, as we decided here on the NASS show, it's absolutely one of the best Christmas movies ever. I watched Die Hard so many damn times. I love Die Hard, man. And I'm not like crapping on Lethal Weapon, okay? Lethal Weapon was great in this time. But if you rewatch Lethal Weapon now, it doesn't hold up as much. There's a lot of like corniness to it. I understand that's what it was supposed to be. That's the type of action it was back then. Die Hard, despite the fact that it was made around the same era, still holds up. The action is still unbelievable, and it doesn't feel corny. It didn't have that traditional kind of 90s, like 80s kind of corniness to it. Still phenomenal, man. Love Die Hard.
Which?
I disagree 100%.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Because I didn't say that Die Hard was a Christmas movie. I still say it's not.
Well,
but in any case, Lethal. I wasn't a part of that episode, so it doesn't count for me.
Fair enough.
This was hard though. This was very hard because I didn't look at it as two Christmas movies. I looked at this as two different action films that were so amazing, and I still watch every year. But I gotta give it to Lethal Weapon. I think it's just you know what it is? It's the ensembleness of it. That's why I give it over Die Hard. Die Hard has good characters that are working by themselves, but Lethal Weapon has great characters that are working together. And I love the dynamic between Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. And I always had like a soft spot for Mel Gibson in general compared to Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is great. Don't get me wrong. Die Hard's amazing. But I love Mel Gibson. Like they both have a bunch of one-liners. I prefer Mel's.
This was extremely difficult for me. I love both movies. And like George, both movies I've watched many times over time. I had to go with Die Hard. Maybe it's just as an action movie alone is one of my favorite action movies of all time. Never mind like Christmas movies. But besides that, like it was an amazing villain too, and you know I like my villains, and I think that's one thing that Die Hard has over Lethal Weapon is the villain. So they both have great protagonists, great heroes, but Die Hard also has the great villain to go with it, and that was like the deciding factor for me to go Die Hard over Lethal Weapon.
And don't forget, Reginald Val Johnson is in this movie, Mr. Carl Winslow.
Uncle Carl!
They absolutely work together in that thing. So despite the fact that they're physically separated, they still communicate amongst the radio signal. Come on. Awesome.
Doesn't count for me.
See? This is why it's a great Christmas debate.
Okay. Speaking of movies where you have to debate whether they're Christmas movies or not, we have on one side, and we'll start with you, George, the animated Grinch movie, and on the other side, Polar Express. Who are you picking?
I don't know if this was really a hard one either. Yeah, the animated Grinch. I'll take the live action Grinch over Polar Express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
But animated Grinch, that's just that's my childhood. That's my heart also grows every time I watch it.
Okay. I'm gonna go contrary. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm gonna go Grinch on this.
F you.
Yes, I love the cartoon. The live action one was cool. Don't get me wrong, but there's just something magical about the animation one that I just freaking love. Polar Express. I finally watched it in its entirety, like maybe 4 months ago. Before I would start to watch it, and I just got bored, and I would get bored. And this time, I'm like, I'm gonna force myself to finish watching it. I just don't love it that much, man. To be completely, honest with you, I loved the children's book when I was a kid reading it. The animation movie just doesn't do it for me. I'm not a huge fan of the animation style that they used. The Grinch is awesome. I love the zaniness. It's Seuss, man. Get me every time.
Well, this will be the first one that all three of us agree on. It's going to have to be the Grinch, the animated one. I mean, or the live action. First of all, it's a more iconic story. Everyone knows the Grinch story. No matter what age you are, you know at least the gist of the Grinch story. So it is more iconic overall. Second of all, I know for last week we did an overrated comedy episode. If we were to do an overrated Christmas movie episode, I would throw Polar Express in there because I saw it and I just don't see it. And I love Tom Hanks. And like even he wasn't enough to like keep me engaged for that movie. While the Grinch, I'll always watch different versions of it, and I'm always entertained with the story because it's such a good story.
I will say the thing about Polar Express, just to shine some good light on it, that I think appealed to me when it came out, was that nothing else looked like it, and it was the reuniting of bosom buddies. If people don't know who Bosom Buddies are, it was a show that Tom Hanks, and I can't remember the other actor's name. That makes it sad, but him and the other actor reunited to do the voices for this movie, and I thought that was really cool.
I remember watching Polar Express, and it's just I felt like an extended Coca-Cola commercial.
Yes.
It
Yes.
did. It felt like that. Yeah. No, it felt like that.
All right, let's go back to live action. And then let's go with two movies about individuals transforming into Christmas figures. And we have one end, we have Jack Frost. On the other hand, we have the Santa Claus. Go with you on this one, Dan.
I went with the Santa Claus. That's one that like I love going back and seeing Tim Allen, do his thing. He's so good. He this was when he really started doing a lot more like a family kind of comedy, right? We weren't seeing like the whole Tim Allen kind of thing. And I think he did this before he did Toy Story, right? If I'm not mistaken. I know it was
Think
about
so.
around the
Yeah,
same
I believe
time. I
so.
think he did this one first. But it's a great movie to go back to, man. And it was a great I love the aspect of him transforming into Santa Claus. I thought that was such a unique, really smart way of approaching that. And you go and you see the elves and the magical world. It felt magical. And you've seen ideas of the Santa Claus repeated in other future Christmas movies, like the movie Elf. Like they borrowed some of these things, but it felt like Santa Claus was kind of original to the point where they had like a full on like trilogy, and now there's even like a television show, I
Yeah.
guess, right? Like streaming show. Like I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had one, but I love the original, man. I still go back and rewatch it. Tim Allen's good. I like him.
George?
Well, if you haven't tell by my name, yes, I totally agree. The Santa Claus is the winner here. Granted, I if you asked me as a kid, I probably would have thought Jack Frost would have become.
Is he frozen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good. I'm making sure it's not just me. He's like in the middle of a rap battle.
Yeah. All right, George. So you were saying when I was a kid,
Yeah. You're in the middle of you're right there.
and then when you get the
Fuck.
rest of the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, Michael Keaton was like the funniest person to me. I love Michael Keaton. He could do no wrong. But then I saw Jack Frost, and that proved me wrong. So yeah. So Tim Allen definitely gets it with the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to also go with the Santa Claus. I would say there's a reason that one spawned multiple, um, movies, and the other one did not, and it's because the quality. There's a huge difference between them. And Santa Claus is one of those like, newer classic, Christmas movies that you can go back to, and you're gonna have that comedy and the whole, wholesomeness that you tend to associate with Christmas movies. So yeah, it's not close for me as much as I like Michael Keaton. It's gonna be
Yeah.
the Santa Claus.
And I wanted to have that hot chocolate, man.
Oh
That
my
hot
God, I
chocolate that
know.
elf made, the
Took her like what,
freaking
800
Stein looks
years?
so good.
Whatever it
Oh
was, like
man.
800 years, whatever to perfect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But remember, George, she's taken.
Sorry.
All right, let's go back to animated here, and we're gonna go like super classics. This is like the old version. We're talking about claymation and all that. So we're gonna have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer versus Frosty the Snowman. George, we start with you this time.
Okay. Fun fact. About once a week, I always say, "Happy birthday!" But I'm gonna go with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's the one I pick over Frosty the Snowman. Both are great. This was hard. When you put those together, I was back and forth. Like either one could be the winner, honestly.
Wait, what was the deciding factor to make you pick Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
I guess I liked the adventure that Rudolph goes on, and there's more relativeness to it. Like you can be a kid who feels on the outs, but then all of a sudden everyone needs you for something that's grand or whatever. That can happen, as opposed to the magical snowman person who's just gonna melt every day. Just that kind of stuff on paper.
Yeah.
Rudolph just wins out. But both are fun.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I haven't seen these in a long time. I didn't really grow up watching these that much. I was more like watching like Gremlins for Christmas movies when I was a little kid. So like I watched more of that stuff. So I remember, I have seen them before, but it's really been a long time, man, to be completely honest with you. I know the story of Rudolph's better, so I'm assuming that's a little better, but I can't do a fair comparison on the actual movies. It's been too long since I've seen it.
All right.
So gun
So
to your
then
head, you're
chose the
not picking
cop
either
out.
one,
I
Um,
pick
right?
Rudolph. I pick Rudolph.
Okay, there we go.
Just because
There
the
we go.
story. Yeah, I pick Rudolph because the story.
all right. This was a close one, but I'm going to go with Frosty the Snowman. If you would have asked me as a kid, I would have gone with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I remember like growing up and watching it more and being like, damn, Santa's a dick. And all these reindeers are dick. Like, I'm like, he's very likable in this movie. It's a movie about bullying and using people only when you need them. And so
Corporate America.
yeah, for that
Yeah.
reason, I had to go more with Frosty. Frosty's not there for a long time, but he's there for a good time.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
You know, he comes in and he's all about let's just enjoy life, for a little bit that I'm here. Then he goes away. That makes the heart grow fonder. He comes back the next year and we're ready to party again. I'm like, I like that story better than the manipulation and the bullying that you get with Rudolph the Red-Nosed
You
Reindeer.
could also argue then that Frosty was a metaphor for a pusher, a drug dealer,
Right?
maybe.
I was like, he
Come in
sounds like a substance
yeah.
dealer.
It sounds like a substance dealer. Exactly. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. He
Yeah.
comes in, he brings the snow, and then he's gone.
Right?
I mean, if you had to choose between a bully and a substance dealer,
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna hang out with the
eh,
second. As soon as Jose started pitching, I'm like, that's a pretty good, compelling argument here.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a magical Christmas.
yeah.
Who's sleeping tonight? Let's open presents.
What's funny is
Got time to sleep in the summer.
one could argue that Rudolph's red nose came from Frosty.
It's a shared universe. We need a whole episode dedicated to how we break all of
Crossover.
these down and how it's all connected to the same thing.
Well, they
They're all
are because
paraphernalia
those
users.
heat misers and freeze misers, they're in a lot of the different movies. They connect everything.
Mm-hmm. So they're the users.
Yep.
Makes sense.
All right, let's switch it over to some horror Christmas movies.
Love
And
that.
we're going to have a battle between the 1974 Black Christmas and Krampus. George, we'll start with you on this one.
Another tough one, man. Because OG Black Christmas.
I put the 74 because I
Yeah.
wanted to make it tough.
Yeah, because that's the good one. But that's like just a good horror movie. Krampus is like, it's good horror, but it's also fun. Like I like the campiness of it. I like having a good laugh while having the horror stuff. So I went with Krampus. I think it's kind of underrated. Now when people talk about it, I think that's the one for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Krampus as well. Black Christmas. It's the same reason you said. They say Black Christmas, but I don't watch it around Christmas necessarily. It's a horror movie. That's the way I kind of see it as. Krampus, it feels very much like a horror movie. So I enjoy the comedy for it. I love I mean the actors are in it, right? Tony Collette's so good in it, man. I love Tony
Adam
Collette.
Scott.
Adam Scott is so good. I love Adam Scott. And it's nice to see him in the lead role. You know what I mean? So I gotta go Krampus, man. Yeah.
I love both movies too. I do agree. I think Krampus is very underrated, doesn't get as much love. I usually watch it every like Christmas. And Black Christmas, like I said, that 1974 version, that's the only one that should exist. So it's a classic. It's really good. But I might have to go Krampus. Just it gives me more. Like they're both
Yeah.
horror movies, so they're both going to give you the horror elements. But Krampus is also going to throw in the comedy aspect of it. It also the focus is more on the essence of Christmas than what Christmas is. It takes place during Christmas. Yes, they're doing Christmas things, but the whole idea of the Krampus is, that folklore around the time frame. So I feel that portrays the essence of Christmas a little bit better too, and it's more entertaining because it gives you more aspects. All right, for the next one, let's go classics again. I don't know if this will be hard for everyone, but I feel for a lot of people this would be hard. Nightmare Before Christmas on the one end versus Charlie Brown Christmas on the other end.
I am gonna go Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that movie. It's a movie that I literally watch every year, with or without kids. Like it doesn't matter. I want to watch it. I love the music. Jack Skellington is so awesome. And if I was a young teen emo kid, man, they got the best merchandise. Like their clothing and stuff is so cool. If you go to Hot Topic,
Hot Topic.
yeah, man. And I love it how at Disneyland they changed the Haunted Mansion ride into Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's that whole theme. Gotta go that, man. Nothing against Charlie Brown, but like I wasn't a huge Charlie Brown fan growing up. I just didn't, again, that's not really what I watched. But Nightmare Before Christmas, absolutely. And I was fooled this whole time thinking it was Tim Burton that directed it, and he didn't. I found that out
Yeah.
as I got older. I kept giving him credit for that movie, and it wasn't.
What's his creation?
It's his
And
creation,
yeah,
but
it's his
but
creation.
if you ever
But
watch
he's
the
not directed it.
documentaries,
Oh, I
dude,
have.
if you ever,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I was like, whoa,
He's
this
there
guy
for
was
like 2 days.
disconnected. That was it. That was it. Put my name on top, and we're good.
Yeah. Nightmare all day. All day. All day, every day. No
There you go.
questions.
24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I did grow up with Charlie Brown Christmas, all the Charlie Brown stuff. Love Charlie Brown. Snoopy's my dog, but it's, man, Nightmare Before Christmas is just, there's so many like scenes and songs. Like we still sing these songs today. Like I'm not singing, well, granted, the music from Charlie Brown Christmas is still being played every day at wherever you work, but it just doesn't compare. Like I don't want to sing it though.
Do you ever do the
Na,
dance?
na, na,
Did you ever do the
na,
dance, or does a
I
little
don't care.
sideways
I don't
dance?
care.
The Charlie Brown dance. Yeah. That's cool.
But
Uh,
I just don't care about it
no,
as much. No.
yeah. I've Charlie Brown Christmas, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown St. Patrick's Day, Charlie Brown National Sandwich Day. None of this for me. Okay?
Pumpkin
It
spice
just
Charlie Brown. I don't care.
yeah, it never was for me. I can understand what some people enjoy about it. I was just like, it's just okay for me. Nightmare Before Christmas, it's just a better movie to me. It's a better story. It's more engaging, more enthralling, and I feel it's good for multiple ages. As you go through, I feel you can grow out of Charlie Brown Christmas, but you don't really grow out of Nightmare Before Christmas. It can stand time. So I'm about to go with that one.
It's funny you say that because I live in Santa Rosa, which is actually the home of the Schultz Museum, and Schultz, like, it was from here, the creator of Charlie Brown. So everyone who lives here would definitely disagree that you can grow out of Charlie Brown.
And
There's
they
Charlie
punch us
Brown
in the
statues at
gonads.
every corner.
So we
Oh,
just go over there to visit. Me and Jose are like, we like A Nightmare better, and somebody just walks by and punches us in the gonads.
yeah.
Makes sense.
You're like, oh, come kick this football. Uh,
Kick your head.
Damn you, Lucy.
all right, we're gonna go with two more classics. Uh, a Christmas Story on one end, and then A Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life on the other end. So this one, George, this is on you. What direction are you going here?
I still haven't decided yet. I'm pulling a Dan.
All right, Dan, let's
Let's
move to you. Let's give
Uh,
George some time to think.
yeah.
All right. So to be honest with you, this was the hardest one for me out of all of them,
Yeah.
because A Christmas Story is one that I've seen every year. It's like a family tradition. Watch it every year for Christmas, right? And now TNT shows it around the clock on Christmas Day. So it doesn't feel like Christmas to me if I don't watch it, or at least have it playing in the background while we're doing stuff. So that, I think I'm going to go there, but It's a Wonderful Life is by far the better film. And I really watched it as I got older and appreciated the hell out of that movie. And I feel like I'm newer to it in the sense where I've only really sat down and watched it like twice in my life. And that's only semi recently. And it's one that as I keep watching it as I get older, that's going to take it for me. But right now I got to go Christmas Story just because of how long and how many years and nostalgia.
Yeah, this one was difficult. I agree. It's a Wonderful Life it's a great movie itself, and and it's a really good concept, and it's a concept that over time kept being redone. That like I wish I wasn't born, or everyone would be better without me. It's been done. I mean, they literally just did it less than a month ago in horror version with It's a Wonderful Knife. So it's something that it's still going through. And that's when you know you have a good concept, when it gets redone over time. So it's a great movie. That being said, I'm also gonna have to go A Christmas Story, just because it has always resonated with me more than It's a Wonderful Life. I loved it growing up as a kid, and even as I got older, I would still like enjoy it. It would bring me back, even as an adult. It would bring me back to like childhood. So for that reason, I have to go with Christmas Story, just because it's deeper ingrained in my heart than what A Wonderful Life is.
Did you ever see the sequel, the latest one that came out?
No, because I
No.
enjoyed the original so much, I just didn't want it tainted by
That's
watching
the
the
same thing
sequel.
for me. That's why I haven't watched it too.
I saw it because I can separate them. It didn't taint it for me because it feels like an entirely different production, entirely different thing, but it's not good. It's not worth it.
So me and
All
Jose
right.
haven't missed anything then.
Yeah.
You literally haven't missed anything. Yeah. I was just curious if you guys saw it.
Yeah.
George, you have a decision yet?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be A Wonderful Life. Yeah, that's the one. And it's because
What
you know what
puts
it
it
was?
over?
Dan brought up a point of like watching it every year and it's like tradition. It's one of those movies that you know that it's gonna be on TV. A channel's gonna show this. At least one channel. And if you don't have cable, that's okay. Public access TV will always put this movie on, no matter what. You're not gonna miss it. And that's one of those things growing up where like we knew it was gonna be on. We didn't have to search for it. It's like, oh, I want to watch It's a Wonderful Life. Is it playing right now? Just turn the TV on. And without fail, every year growing up, we just found a channel and bam, it was there.
So
And
Wonderful Life on ESPN Deportes?
you're watching the Ocho.
And there's every time a bell rings, a hothead gets his wings. It's like,
I see.
hey.
All right. Well, actually, we have one left, and I thought we should end it with more sillier movies that might not be the greatest movies around, but they were entertaining and they bring a silliness to it. And that is, on one end, the classic Jingle All the Way, and then on the other end, Elf. Dan, what do
All
you
right.
got?
So I'm gonna go Elf because Elf came in and it was really funny to me. It's one of Will Ferrell's, in my opinion, one of his better performances. I love the fact that they really incorporated that old school animation. The cartoon animation
Yeah.
that they brought into was really super rad, man. They also borrowed that, like I said, the reference to the Santa Claus at the end, where it kind of felt like Santa's sleigh and stuff. Like those certain elements that they borrowed. You had James Caan in it. That's just he's perfect for that role because he's Mr. Grumpy. But I still have to give a shout out to Jingle All the Way just because Arnold was so good in that, man. Him and Sinbad had really good chemistry. So I don't want to dismiss that movie and say it wasn't good. Uh, the part that I didn't like about it the most was the little kid that played Anakin Skywalker. I think that kid's just not a good actor. No offense to that kid in the real life, but
That
like,
poor kid
he's
has lived such a bad life because
yeah,
of people hating on him.
yes, but like he's awful. He's just awful. And then what makes me crazy is that George Lucas saw that movie and said he needs to play Anakin Skywalker. And it's like, that's the movie you saw him in? But like, okay, whatever. But still, I gotta go Elf.
All right, George.
Oh man, part of me wants to go Elf still because that's what I have highlighted as the winner. But Jingle All the Way, I watched a
It's
lot too growing
fun,
up,
man.
man.
It's a fun watch.
Yeah, it's not even a good line, but just the moment where like Arnold points at Sinbad and he's like, "He has a turbo man doll! He has a turbo man
Yes.
doll!" And and the crowd just goes after him, and he doesn't. you know, it's just so ridiculous and silly. It's like that was one of those moments where it's like, yes, Arnold belongs in these movies.
Dude,
He's more than an action star.
he's so we loved Arnold in the 80s, right? And this one, the reason why Jingle All the Way should not be dismissed is because it was a return to form for him a little bit in this one, where he kind of went back to some of that roots that was a little bit of a gap because he was kind of putting a little bit of stinkers, right? That weren't as
Yeah.
good. Jingle All the Way came back out and it's like, there he is, man. And to see him so like that, like outlandish, and then you combine that with Sinbad, who normally acts like that erratic too. It was a great pairing, surprisingly.
Yeah, they're not the duo you'd expect to be good.
No, and then Phil
Plus,
Hartman.
I was
Phil
gonna say
Hartman.
exactly. I think that was his
Yes.
last movie.
It was
I
his
want to
last.
say,
Yeah.
So
Yep, it was.
creepy Phil Hartman doing the
Mhm.
best.
uh yeah, this was tough. So I would say Elf is the better movie. It's the better movie overall with the overall better performances. So if I had to choose what's a better movie, it's going to be that.
And Jon Favreau directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way is not a great movie. I can admit that it's not a great movie.
But it's a fun one.
That's a guilty pleasure.
But it is a fun one. And I'm going to have to go with Jingle All the Way because it's always just held a special part of my heart. As a kid, I've always enjoyed watching it, even if it is silly, even if it isn't great, even if it has a kid who probably shouldn't have been performing that role or anything like that. Even through all of his flaws, there's this charm to it that I've just always liked and enjoy. And even watching it as an adult, no many times I've watched it, I still find myself like laughing during certain scenes, like the whole Santa's like scene, the brawl like breaks out. That's it. So for that reason, if I had to choose, someone be like, "Hey, what do you want to watch? Jingle All the Way or Elf?" I'm gonna choose Jingle All the Way. Maybe they might not like it, but I'm gonna enjoy it.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
What's funny with Elf is what I love quoting is that scene where he drinks that whole 2 liter of soda. Remember, he turns to a little kid and just belches. Did you hear that? I love quoting that so much.
Yeah, I think overall through all these face-offs, and I'd be curious to hear other people's opinions of what they would choose at the bottom. They're most of these aren't really bad movies. These are overall good movies, and we wanted to make it tough, so it was just like, hey, which good movie do you prefer? And it all comes down to preference. Some of these movies we connect with more. It's not so much that it's a better movie.
No,
Yeah, but
I
I
think
definitely saw it and was like, Mary fluff you, Jose. Mary
Yes.
fluff you
Yes.
hard.
Yes. So hard. To me, the weakest one out of all was probably Jack Frost. That's one I'm like, they
Yeah.
don't really do much for me.
For me, probably Polar Express entertained me the least.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But all right. Thank you for watching another episode of Not a Strong Start. You can like, comment, subscribe, share on the YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. Please put down what some of your favorite Christmas classics are. Let us know which ones you guys would have decided on of the two pairings. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Not a Strong Start. You can follow me, Nightmare for Danmus, at King_Sangre.
And I am ho ho hotality, and you can find me at This Is Mi Nombre on Instagram.
And I was. Does this look like a little fat to you? Or wait, I don't know anymore because I'm not reading my screen. You can follow me at Nicolopoulos.
There you go.